Good evening, everyone. The price of Bitcoin is now at $93,500. And I want to make this video because I think Bitcoin is about to see yet again another breakout very soon. Maybe not exactly in the way that you think it will be. So stay tuned until the end of this video if you want to see exactly. Well, I have a red line there, so it's kind of obvious, but I will explain you the technicals in this video. And also, I did an altcoin video yesterday. And today on the Moon Show, I ended up opening a couple of altcoin positions to accompany my Bitcoin positions because some of them look rather interesting and they haven't yet followed what Bitcoin has done. So obviously Bitcoin had an inverse head and shoulder pattern on the 4-hourly, 1-hourly timeframes. You broke out of the neckline and you also broke out of the upwards resistance of the falling wedge. And Bitcoin decided to blast off to the upside. But of course, Bitcoin dominance is increasing now at almost 65%. So a lot of altcoins are still behind the curve. And this gives us the opportunity that if you missed out on Bitcoin, which hopefully you didn't because you were watching this channel. If you're not subscribed and if you don't want to miss out, then make sure to subscribe because we're only 800 subscribers away from 50,000. So go ahead and do that. But this gives us the opportunity to make money, more money, or gives you the opportunity if you did miss out on Bitcoin, which also I think will continue seeing a pump. So with that said, if you subscribed, if you've destroyed the notification bell, let's go on and jump into Bitcoin, and then I'll get into some breaking news on the tariffs, and then we can do some Bitcoin on-chain / macro analysis, some breaking news on Bitcoin side, and we can go into the ETF. So now officially Bitcoin's at $93,500. That is perfect. We're following the technical analysis exactly, and we've been opening positions over on weeks on Bitcoin and also on a couple of altcoins too. All of them are now in very nice profit. So congratulations if you were able to do the same. Let me know in the comment section of this video if you were able to long Bitcoin with us here on the channel. I see all of your comments, but guys, I do so many YouTube content that I can't always answer comments. So I see all of them though. I see Valerie, she's there always. I see a lot of you. Young Pistachio, massive shout out. So I see all of your comments. So let me know. Make sure to let me know in the chat if you've been longing Bitcoin and if you've been accumulating during this dip like we predicted, like Carl says, exactly as predicted. So where's Bitcoin going to go? Enough with the waffling. In the past 2 moon shows, and I think I told you guys this in yesterday's video too, Bitcoin is trading at very important resistance. So it's understandable that we decide to consolidate at this price level. Well, yesterday I said it would take maybe 24 to 72 hours. So between 1 to 3 days for Bitcoin to make it out of this consolidation, because there is important resistance when you go back to prior price action, of which Bitcoin traded between 93 all the way to $109,000. And that's exactly what's happening so far. I think Bitcoin does have the momentum to break above it. Obviously, we want to do this tomorrow and Friday, ideally, because if we don't, then unfortunately, we're stuck in the weekend, and then Saturday, nothing happens. So a little bit more consolidation, and then worst case scenario, I'm expecting sometime next week, ideally when futures market opens, as soon as it opens on Sunday, we should see the breakout from 93,500. And if that doesn't happen, then sometime next week, we go to $102,000. So 102 is still my expectation. Again, resistance, Trump announcement of the crypto fake strategic reserve. We're finding resistance there. W formation, inverse head and shoulders pattern that is now forming on XRP and a couple of other altcoins. They all have targets at 102. Also, the Bitcoin falling wedge has a target at around, well, actually much more, but they all sort of line up to the 102 to prior all-time high area. And these are my positions on weeks. I have a little take profit set at 102 for one of my positions, but I want to continue keeping these positions open because ultimately I think in the next 2 months, Bitcoin will be able to reach 120 to 130. Remember, the US is going to publish exactly how they're going to be buying Bitcoin and hopefully actually end up buying Bitcoin for their own balance sheet starting in June. So I think all of that rush will kind of create massive FOMO, and I'm expecting around $120 to $115,000 by the end of June, which is another 2.5 months. So I'm going to keep these positions open. If you're not long Bitcoin yet, first thing is first, you can go to the links down in the description below. I'm personally trading my current altcoins and Bitcoin all over on week. So link is down in the description for weeks. It takes 30 seconds to sign up. And if you use this specific link in the description below, one, you'll be supporting the channel, and two, you can actually get a chance of winning a Ferrari, which is pretty insane. So make sure to sign up to weeks if you want to be trading cryptocurrencies. So enough with Bitcoin. Again, I would be long. I know that we're at resistance, but if you're leveraged like 2, 3, 4, 5x, then you're not going to get liquidated. In fact, we can even calculate exactly your liquidation price. So trading pair, let's say 5x leverage, your entry price is right now, that would be $93,500. Closing price, I mean, we can say 115 to be conservative, but obviously Bitcoin will go higher in this cycle. Position size, if we do $10,000 with 5x leverage, that's a $2,000 position. 1, 2, 3, calculate. Yeah, you would be putting 2K and your P&L is going to be $2,300 if we go to 115, which is not bad whatsoever. But we got to calculate the liquidation price. So 5x leverage, entry 93500, position size 10,000, 1, 2, 3, and account balance, we want to do isolated. So calculates. Yeah, your liquidation price is going to be 75. And to be honest with you guys, the likelihood of Bitcoin now coming back down to 75 is, I would say, very unlikely. So up to 5, 6, maybe even 7x leverage, I think trading Bitcoin now is a good idea. If you want to be buying Bitcoin cheap, then you could be looking at 91.9 for a potential entry, but we've already tested that. So maybe we don't go down there again, but it would be nice to put some limit orders where there is support. So 91.9, $90,480. And we can also do $88,600. Those are good points to be going limit long over on Bitcoin, so that if you think it's going to correct at this resistance, which it may not do so, then those would be 3 potential dollar cost averaging targets, which would give you an average DCA of around $90,300. So that's Bitcoin. 102 is imminent in my opinion. But where is the real opportunity? I think the real opportunity is right now in altcoins. Like look at XRP, for example. XRP, massive falling wedge if you kind of discount this massive 2 candles here. So I am breaking a little bit of laws in technical analysis, but I think it's fine because it was such a sharp move. If you don't want to break laws, and you can see that, yes, you're still in a falling wedge, but not as beautiful as it would have been if those 2 candles didn't exist. So it would be something more like, well, actually, I mean, technically we've broken out of it already. So, and we've retested it. Okay, so this is what I want to look at. So falling wedge, you've broken out already, retested the resistance, retested the neckline of the inverse head and shoulders pattern, and now you're ready to absolutely blast off. I think XRP is going to do incredible. Immediate short term, I'm expecting a target for XRP at exactly, well, $2.45. So nothing too crazy in the immediate short term. That will give you still a trade of about 11% unleveraged. And I opened a 5x leverage position on LBank. You can do the same over on weeks. My liquidation price is at 1.78, which I don't think we're going to reverse to. And if it does, then I don't mind too much. So 5x leverage, I'm going to increase the position size later on. But if you put $1,000 with 5x leverage, that's going to be $5,000. And if you go up, then you're going to be making $500 in profit, which is not too bad whatsoever. But if you want to look for more of a midterm to long-term target, then it will be the 3.35 area, which will give you a much bigger target, of course. That will be a 52% trade. 5x leverage will be 250%, meaning your $1,000 will become $3,500. And I think this is very much possible. So XRP is one that I'm buying. And if you want to do the same, link is down in the description below for weeks. The next one is Ethereum. I spoke about this one on the previous video, but you can see that we're retesting a critical level of support here, which we haven't been since the bottom of the bear market in 2022. Ethereum is just an altcoin that has so much hate at the moment. Like people are hating on Ethereum so much. And that is exactly why I want to buy this a lot, because you want to be buying into assets that people hate. As soon as people start hating Bitcoin, that is exactly when you want to buy. There was nobody who was sane, right? Apart from delusional people like me and my friends, who was saying that buying Bitcoin at $15,000 after dropping 80% in value was a good idea. No, nobody was saying that. And it did go up in value. And if you look at the fundamentals, then, Ethereum is the second largest cryptocurrency. Who uses Ethereum? Realistically, not many people. But if you look at the actual sort of transactions of Bitcoin too, not many people use Bitcoin either. So with this one, we need to understand that it's the second largest cryptocurrency. And out of other cryptocurrencies like AVAX, which is also a good project, and a bunch of other tokens in the top 100 list, Ethereum is still the most used out of those cryptocurrencies. And everybody knows Ethereum, so quantitative easing will come. It's just a fair value to be buying right now, testing incredible support. And on the lower time frames for Ethereum, we also have a W formation, which should be breaking out very, very soon. So I'm long on Ethereum, and I think we can make it back to at least this level at 2.5, because look, Bitcoin is already at this level right here. So if you go to the price of Bitcoin, we've already come back to the point of which President Trump announced the fake crypto reserve. So we've already made it back there, and altcoins are going to follow, which would mean that if you do decide to open a long position over on Ethereum, then you would be making unleveraged 43%, which is unbelievable. Over here, I have a 5x leverage on Ethereum. On weeks, we have better entries. And I think it's still a great time to enter because of this. You're still very premature in the breakout and you're testing very cool support. But if you go to Ethereum USDT, what's our positions on Ethereum ETH USDT for Ethereum? Ethereum, there we go. So our positions on Ethereum are 4x and 4x leverage, which I should increase really because the entry is pretty good. So 50%, 4x leverage is going to be 200%. So $1,000 for me will become like $5,000, which is cool, right? And I think it's still a good time to be entering into Ethereum. I think it is looking great. And then we have AVAX W formation, right? It has come to the place where it was when Trump announced the crypto strategic reserve. So it's not as good of a buy, I would say, as Ethereum specifically, but I still think it's pretty good because you have the W formation. So W formation, we're testing the neckline, so a bit of resistance, but I'm okay to take a bit of risk with low leverage because if we do end up breaking to the upside, and this is such a textbook W formation, like exactly at the bottom of the trend, that's going to give you a $31 AVAX almost. And from where we are currently, that's going to be an increase of 37%. And we have 5x leverage here, so that's going to make you about 170-ish% in return. So your $1,000 becomes $2,700. So AVAX is another great buy, which you can also trade over on weeks using the top link in the description below. Second last coin, Solana. This one is premature. So Solana, we know, is going to do super well. There's now a company that's doing the same sort of strategy that MicroStrategy is doing with Bitcoin, but for Solana, which is interesting. And right over here, you saw the retest to the neckline. And I think we can make it back to where Bitcoin is currently at $177 for Solana. So that's going to be a move of about 21%. 5x leverage is going to be approximately 100%. So your $1,000 will become $2,000. And 10,000 would be 20,000. My liquidation is, where is my liquidation? 119. I don't think we're going back there anytime soon. So I'm confident in this position and I am long on Solana. The final one is Dogecoin. I think Dogecoin is great. Again, W formation, premature, not where Bitcoin is currently. And if you decide to open a long here, then you would be making approximately, let's see, if we go back to where obviously Bitcoin is, then 23%. But I think that Dogecoin can go to $1 in the cycle. And I truly believe this with all of my heart. And that would be a 414% return. 5x leverage is going to give you a 2,000% return, which is equivalent to 20x your money. Yes. Is it? It should be 20. It's too late, guys. I've not slept in so long. So yeah, it should be 20x your money. So $1,000 should become $10,000, so $20,000. But this will happen by the end of the cycle. That's why we'll take some more patience. But if you do have the patience, then you can make a lot of money with Dogecoin. I have some Dogecoin positions on weeks, and I'm not planning on closing them because I think Doge will do very, very well. So if you want to do the same, I think it's a great time to be buying. And yeah, you can buy it over on weeks. So those are the altcoins. Breaking news, President Trump is saying that the 145% tariff, which they initially introduced, and then we had the breaking news video like on Monday, where he said that he's not going to be doing that. He thinks it's too high. Well, guess what? Today he said, I haven't brought it down. I just said it's a high tariff. but I haven't actually brought it down. So he's again going against what he said before. And, Trump was saying that they're talking with China and they're holding trade decisions and that China wants to come to a conclusion with the trade deal. But apparently, China said that they've not even discussed with Trump. So that's a bit of a shady situation. President Trump that said that Canada tariffs could be increased by 25%. And then finally, we're so far 15 days into the 90-day reciprocal tariff pause, which means that 70% of the time of which Trump paused the tariffs have now been completed, but there's not been one single deal with any country. And that is concerning. So uncertain future, but I think Bitcoin is the choice of asset in the time of uncertainty. So who is buying now? Apart from me, apart from you guys, hopefully, who is actually buying Bitcoin right now? Well, it's mostly the whales and the smart money. So holders that have more than 10,000 Bitcoin are right now accumulating like an insane amount. And that's a great sign because it shows you that smart money is buying and they understand that Bitcoin is going to follow M2 money supply, which will take Bitcoin a lot higher. And they also understand the fundamental economics of Bitcoin that, in just 1 year alone, the ETFs have bought 1.13 million Bitcoin. And this is in 1 year. And this was in a bear market. So when you look at the total demand for Bitcoin over the next 10 years, can you imagine how much more Bitcoin these guys will buy? So demand will increase, the amount of supply will decrease, the amount of Bitcoin on exchanges is an all-time low, OTC all-time low. So where the hell are these guys going to buy these Bitcoin? So supply is not going to match demand. And just because of that, the price is going to go up massively. And now we're seeing American companies and different companies doing Bitcoin treasuries. A recent one that was launched yesterday was called 21 by SoftBank, Cantor Fitzgerald, and Jack Mallers. And I'm going to put some money into this because I like Bitcoin treasury companies. Their only focus is to increase the amount of Bitcoin per share. And that's cool. I mean, especially if you're an institutional investor that can't get exposure to spot Bitcoin, even if you want to, and your only option is the ETFs. I think things like this is better because the ETF is stagnant, right? It doesn't give you any Bitcoin yield or it doesn't give you any dividends. But if you buy, these stocks, the Bitcoin treasury stocks, some of them, like 21, their only incentive is to increase the amount of Bitcoin per share. So I think it's pretty cool, and I am going to look into buying some of that stock personally. And then the final topic of this video is that the past 2 days have been great. Bitcoin has only gone up by 10%, but the ETFs decided to buy up almost $1 billion per day, reaching record highs, which is incredible. So as soon as Bitcoin starts pumping again, then the ETFs will continue to buy more. But with that said, guys, I know that was a bit of a longer video than usual, but I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, destroy the likes and subscribe. And with that said, I'll see you all on the next video update very soon. Take care, guys. And as always, bye-bye.